Good afternoon, everyone. It's a quarter to 6 here in the UK. I'll be, I suppose, a quarter to 2 in the US at this time. On Tuesday, the 22nd of March, a magnificent spring day in London. Sun is shining. I walked out earlier with no jacket on. It was just wonderful. And the stock market playing the game as well. We're looking at VectorVest US. And as you can see, the S&P is up another 50 points today at 4509. It's come one heck of a long way in the last week. We have a green light. Prices up day over day and week over week on the VectorVest composite. And slowly but surely, we're dragging ourselves upwards here. The buy-sell ratio has improved over the last 10 days from 0.22 to 0.75. Still has to get above 1 before the long-term trend in VectorVest can actually move up. So we have a situation where the short-term trend is up, the underlying trend is still down, but darn close to changing, and the longest-term measure of the trend is down. So if we have a look at the VectorVest composite, that's the composite, folks, of the US market. If I put on the longest term measure of the trend, confirmed calls, that's been down since the 22nd of November last year. And although those rallies along the way, it kept everybody out of the market during that period. The medium term market timing system that I use for my swing trades is called the DEW. And the DEW, I'll spare you the acronym, but it's in fact just fired a buy signal after the close last Friday, and market moving up quite nicely. As you can see, that signal was preceded by a mega oversold. Remember that 0.22 on the buy-sell ratio, and it was also preceded by this bullish divergence on the DPO, the detrended price oscillator. So with any luck, that's going to be a really, really good signal. Invariably, after a big sell-off, the DEW provides a good signal. So I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a little bit of a pullback, that we've got to weather a bit of a pullback, but nevertheless today looking quite good. If we have a look at my dear old friend, the S&P 500, we can see that this has been quite an advance. Yesterday we had a doji candle, and today we've broken up above that doji, and that's a very positive sign, folks. We had indecision here yesterday, and today we've got a couple of hours to go to the close, but a close above the high of the doji is very bullish indeed. It's saying that the bulls have won this fight here. So it's got a lot of work to do to get out of trouble yet, but nevertheless, starting to look very good indeed. So I've taken some positions in the US, and they're just about in let me see if I can find them. Should be March 21st. Yeah, there we go. That's the positions that I've got. They haven't moved very far. They're all in buy recommendations. And apart from this uranium stock, they've all got really, really good VectorVest metrics. So if I just chart those little fellas, that's MATX, and that stock should have been into it here, but waited for the DEW. I'm still quite happy with this market action, folks. Broke out of this multiple inside pattern, and as you can see, earnings per share rising strongly here. That would have been the better signal, there's no doubt about that, as it came back to that support. But broke out of this multiple inside pattern on good volume, as you can see. And now it's coming back to test on falling volume. That's a darn good sign. Got to let that sweat. The VectorVest stop loss is a long, long way away. My stop loss is tighter than that. Somewhere around the 110 level here. So I'm happy with that. I have no idea what's going to happen next, folks, but I'm happy with it. That's CF Industries, and it gapped out of this obvious level. It's come back to test, that's for sure. So I managed to get into that pretty much where it is at the minute, about 99, slightly under $100, and the stop loss is fairly tight. The stop loss is right down there at underneath this low, so we'll see if we get away with that. I had a very good trade on that here. As you'll remember, I went through quite a bit of grief before it moved. My dear friend Tom Hogarth always says that 80% of the points come in the last 20% of the move in terms of time. In other words, they do nothing, do nothing, do nothing, and then all of a sudden they surge, and that's one of the things that Tom taught me over the years that's made me an awful lot of money. Markets are not linear creatures, folks, so they tend to do nothing. Chug and chug and chug, that's called accumulation, and then they run, that's called markup by those of you that are Wyckoff students like myself. That's Archer Daniels, and as you can see, a lovely spring here. Those of you that know my work will know the spring. The fundamentals of the share couldn't be better. It's in a great sector and it's broken up. Managed to get that at the open yesterday, or slightly above the open, just after the VectorVest Q&A. So that one going quite nicely. We shall see. I have no idea what's going to happen next, folks. This is a long-term stock that I like the look of. I spoke about it last week, folks. There is a really good shakeout here down to $20, and I bought it yesterday as it broke up through that top at about 29. Trading an inside day today. That breakout was in good volume. It bodes well. I have no idea what's going to happen next. And that's the GDX that I'm sitting sweating and have been in it. I bought into it just at this 36.50 level. Again, based on the spring. I know I'm a one-trick wonder. And by the way, this afternoon I was so desperate to trade something that I managed to get 30 points out of a spring on the S&P on a 5-minute chart. I looked at the daily chart, nothing to do, because it was extended. I looked at the 4-hourly chart, nothing to do, extended. I looked at the hourly chart, I couldn't see anything. Had to go down to 5 minutes before I found a spring on the 5 minutes. And clearly that sort of angst is not a good role model for you, because I felt it had more legs in it this afternoon. And we've had 3 or 4 good springs in a row on the S&P 500, and markets are always like that with any setup, folks. Setups come like London taxis. You get 6 in a row, and then all of a sudden the setup disappears and you stand in the rain waiting for a taxi for hours, and then you see another 6 just as you're soaked through. So that's what I've been up to. So we'll see how they go. I'll keep my eye on them, and I'll keep updating the video. Now in the UK, we've got a stronger market, and we in fact, after the close last night, we got both a DEW, the medium-term market timing signal, and the longest term market timing signal called a confirmed up. Again, the buy-sell ratio is not in great shape. It's digging itself out of trouble, but the buy-sell ratio doesn't in fact affect the confirmed call signal. The confirmed call signals in the United Kingdom is a function of the MTI. So if the MTI is above 1, market timing indicators above 1, and the market's traded upwards for 2 5-day periods in a row, it prints a confirmed call signal. Those signals have been very good for us over the last little while. So what have I done? Well, I bought some Anglo. Okay, I like the look of Anglo. We'll have a look at it. I'm waiting for a pullback in CCC. Sometimes the best ones never pull back, but I'm waiting for a pullback on CCC. I see there was a nice pullback today on Cape. I'll have a look at that after the close. And that's certainly something I want to get back into as well. I bought some Bloomsbury, okay, and I bought some Airtel Africa, and I added a little bit into McFarlane. So I'm starting to get back into the market. and I'll have a look tomorrow if I've got a second to get back. When there's a confirmed up, I would like to be fully invested over the next few days, certainly over the next week. So that's Anglo, looking for a level in CCC to add. Bloomsbury, Airtel Africa, the Anglo chart I particularly liked, folks. In fact, let's have a look at them all. There's no... and that's Anglo. I managed to get it here, but look at this. This was a great signal as it came back to test, and that looks to me like a flag. It's growing earnings. VectorVest reckon it's worth considerably more than it's trading for. That looks good to me, and it pays a very healthy dividend. So that's the long-term chart, and this is the cup. And that's the handle, and you see how frequently, I reckon about 50% of them will come back and test, folks. They just don't go. So that looks quite good to me. Get rid of that for a second. That's the CCC. As you can see, it's got beautiful spring here. Just textbook stuff accumulated by very smart people right at the lows. A pullback, and that would be nice to add to it. That's Bloomsbury. You've got to look at this in a weekly chart. And if we look at this on a weekly chart, I believe that this is being strongly accumulated in here. I spoke about this at the Q&A yesterday. These up bars occurring on great volume here. I think that this wants to go, so we shall see. Stop losses a long way away in this. These are position trades, they're not swing trades. And that's Airtel Africa. Really like the look of it. If we look at the value of this, it's right up at £2. This share significantly undervalued, so that one's good. That's Sylvania Platinum, and that's MACF McFarlane, and I added to that this morning. You can see here, folks, that we've got this big bar on really great volume, and big volume coming into this. I think this is a no-brainer myself. And that's Pan-African Resources, a gold mining stock, a very small gold mining stock that I'm busy holding on to. We've held on to it through thick and thin here at this 50% retracement. It is my view that gold is coming back to test the last resistance, and we could have a week or two's stagnation in Pan-African Resources. So that's the positions I have. Nothing much has changed, except if that's the wrong place. Nothing much has changed, except I've added to these during the course of some late yesterday, some this morning. No, all this morning. So the late yesterday was in the US market. So if we go back to the US market again, as we frequently do in these, we can see not much change, and the S&P holding above that 4,500 number. Sooner or later it has to come back, but folks, that if we do close above that doji, that's a very positive sign. So I hope you found this useful. In the UK, the ball is in. The game is on, folks. We don't know what's going to happen next. Nobody knows what's going to happen next. We've just got to play the cards we're dealt. Thanks very much.